Welcome back to the Fearless Females Voice podcast. On this episode, I am joined by my cousin, Vimisha Gohil. I have known her my whole life, and in 2017 it was tough as we saw things take a turn for the worst in her life. She was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease called Dermatomyostis, which meant her body was attacking itself and impacting her muscles, including her heart. She was extremely low on energy levels and couldn't move and had to spend 25 days in hospital. Her whole life changed when she was told this condition is incurable and she would have to live with this and take medicine every day to help her. On this podcast, Vimisha talks about her struggles over the last few years, how she has kept a positive mindset, her transition back into work, and how she has maintained her social life. This is definitely an inspirational story, so without further ado, let's get stuck in. What does being a fearless female mean to you?
Okay, so for me, it's pretty much what we based on the topic, really, is fearless females. It's so empowering. It sounds so just something to admire, something that you'd want to become, you know. There's going to be situations in your life where you are going to be in a really tough situation. You don't know how to overcome it. You don't know what to do. You're going to be a bit lost. You're going to be alone. Fearless female sounds like something that will make you feel like you are not alone. Feelings that you were feeling, thoughts that you were thinking, you know, someone else has also thought. And that will only make you stronger, make you feel like you're not alone and you can overcome anything when you're together. And I feel like this is it's a good way of starting a community and empowering. I am such a strong believer in empowering like one another, definitely.
I agree. That's such a nice definition. I like that.
Love it.
So Vimi, tell us a bit about yourself.
So at the moment, I am a banker, but I also have a chronic illness called dermatomyositis. So that's an ongoing incurable disease, which I am bringing awareness to. And as well as that, I am arts and crafts, kind of a handy girl. So I like doing stuff like that, really. And I'm a dog mum.
Dog mum for Gigi.
Gigi, a little fluffy fluffster. She is naughty like me.
Vim, for those listening, Vim has the cutest dog. So when I came round to your house last time, she was just like running around everywhere, jumping around. She's just so cute. Really fluffy.
She is really cute. She's a little cockapoo. And she's got the puppy dog eyes down to a T, which is currently staring at me right now.
Gets away with a lot then.
Oh, she gets away with so much.
We might even hear. She might even have a guest appearance on this podcast.
Good point. If you do hear barking, that's definitely Gigi. Yeah. She will probably make that introduction to herself soon.
Good.
Yeah.
She's more than welcome. So tell us about your condition then. When did it start?
So I was diagnosed with dermatomyositis, which is a muscle and skin disease. I had more of the muscle aspect, but being a brown girl, it was very hard to see the skin issues and problems, which is why it's kind of good for me to speak about it, because if someone's going to have a condition and they've got dark skin, usually it's harder to diagnose. But how it happened, your knuckles go dark maybe, and also you just lose all functionality. Your muscles deteriorate, and sooner or later you're not able to do anything. So you can't walk, stand, can't do anything for yourself. My mum became my carer. I can open bottles that were already open. I can get off of chairs. I couldn't move in my bed. I couldn't really do much. You can't even lift your arms higher than this. So washing your hair, brushing your teeth, putting on your makeup, pretty much everything seemed a challenge. So how I figured it out was, you know, we used to do the dances for weddings and stuff like that.
Yes.
Entertaining families. I think it was Richard's, actually. It was Richard's. And I just picked up on the fact that I was becoming more and more tired. So every time I was practicing the dance, I was so adamant with girls. I was like, I'm going to do it again. Let's do it again. 3, 2, 1. And, you know, like we're all practicing.
I remember this, yeah.
before, I was like pushing and pushing and pushing myself. And I knew the moves, in and out in my head. I knew I could do all those moves. And for some reason, I was getting slower and slower and slower with the moves that I was doing. And I was getting really frustrated with myself because I was thinking, why, when I'm spinning, like yesterday when I was spinning I was really good at it. Like now, today, I'm spinning and I know the moves, I know I can do it, but I can't meet the beat. I can't make that, that step. And it was really frustrating. So I was becoming weaker and weaker every day. And the thing with me is because I was just such a character, basically, I pushed myself more and more and more. And I realized, you know what, I can't do this. I'm really tired. I'm lacking in a vitamin was my initial thought. I'm lacking in something, but I am so exhausted. I can't meet this beat and I know I can do it. So it started off with that, and then realizing that, I can't really get out of, I sit on the floor and I can't get back up. I can't lift myself up off the floor. Was when it really, really, really hit me. And I was like, this is terrible. Like, how am I going to explain this to anyone? From, people have just seen me like last month dance in front of hundreds of people. Before that, probably going out and about and enjoying, making the most of my life. And now I can't even open bottles. I'm asking other people to open my bottles for me. And now I can't get up off the floor.
How did you feel then as you felt yourself deteriorating in terms of energy?
So initially what happened was, I think the last time I went out was actually for Anji's birthday. It's like all family related, but
these are our cousins, by the way. So Risha is our cousin, so Risha's wedding, and Anji is another cousin.
Yeah, so she was the last time like I actually went out, and then I decided I cannot face anyone ever again because when I went out for her birthday and I was in the taxi and I couldn't get out of the taxi, so one of the partners had to come and get me out of the taxi, and I was just like, I was leg dead, and it was a good way of making a joke about things, but really deep down I'm really scared.
So you identified that it wasn't just I'm really tired, it's been a long day at work, or it's a gym pain or whatever. You thought it was something more than that, right?
I knew I was becoming disabled. I knew something was really bad. I knew I was becoming disabled, and I went to the doctors, and because I was quite slim, like so much more slimmer than I am now, and my hair was really long back then, so like an Indian Barbie doll. Yes. You get judged, you kind of look okay, so you must be fine. And the fact that I was outgoing, and anyone that I would open up to be like, oh, are you feeling tired? Like, how are you feeling right now? I would ask people, like, oh, I'm just feeling so, is it the weather? Like, I was coming up with different excuses, and I was asking so many people for their opinions. And I was, no one's having it. It's literally just me. And so I'd go to the doctors with my mum, and even the doctor was just completely writing me off. And I just didn't think that was fair. I just felt rejected. I knew there was something wrong with me. And then I realised I have to fight for myself. So, that's what I ended up doing. And at that point, I felt really low. I kept trying every day. So the more I realised I was getting weak, the more I wanted to do boxing, exercise, get fit, run up and down, challenge myself, push myself. But then the more I did that, the more I was running myself down. And little did I know, was probably increasing the fact that I was dying. So that was pretty much what was happening, and making myself more and more disabled.
Wow.
Diagnostic at that point. So every day I'd wake up and I'd try and sit down on the floor and try and get myself up. That was the worst point. I was just like waking up at 6 a.m. in hopes that I'm going to get up off that floor, and then realising, no, I'm not getting up off that floor, and I'm crying and I'm crying, and I'm having to wait for my mum or my dad to come downstairs to get me up because I couldn't do it myself. And then that's when I realised you have to accept this is your fate. You have to accept that this is happening right now. And that's it, like that's all I can do. So it got to a point where I kind of had to accept that, yeah, I was becoming disabled. I got my head around that, but there was no diagnostic, so I couldn't really figure out what am I going to do. Doctors weren't really like helping me out. Only one of them was, and he saw me deteriorating, but then every appointment that you have was every 4 weeks later, but by that point I'm just getting weaker and weaker and weaker, more disabled, more unable. My mum's my full-time carer. I'm hiding myself away from the world. I can't meet anyone. I'm not turning up to anything. I'm saying no to everyone. And that because there was no, I didn't know what was happening. Yeah.
How many months of deterioration did you have then before actually being diagnosed? Just coming up to, I remember it was October 2017, right? Is when you were diagnosed or when you found out?
I'd say everything happened from July because, July. So, yeah. And then like 2-3 months later, I'm in hospital. Your heart's a muscle, and it just all went downhill. So what happened was I fell down the stairs. My legs caved in on me, and my dad caught me at the end of the stairs, went straight to the A&E, and my mum carried me there. And I had an appointment on Monday, and they said to me that you have to wait for your appointment on Monday to be seen to. So I was just like in shock, because I was like, what else can I do? I don't know what else I can do. I was skin and bones by this point, and I didn't really know what, I had no choice but to wait. And then I waited, and on that Monday I went to my appointment. My mum again carried me to this appointment, and I was sitting next to a 90-year-old, and she was able to stand up, get off her seat, have a little chit chat with me, and she was fitter than I was. And it was just like, what the hell? And then I got carried into the appointment, and in the hospital, and then the doctor in the hospital, bless him, he saw me, and then he diagnosed me. Well, he goes, I'm going to have to get you admitted to hospital. And the reason why that happened actually was I was sitting down, and I was just trying to explain to him my situation. And I think I have this like really high-pitched voice that I probably sound really bubbly all the time, even when I'm trying to say something really horrible. So the doctor, I was just saying, like, I really can't move anymore. Like, I can't do anything. This is crazy. And then I was like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm freaking out. And he was just like, oh, show me. And I was like, okay, I'll show you. And I went like this because my mum has to carry me up. But my mum, when she carried me up, she dropped me almost, and I was going straight down. So he had to come, and he picked me up. And then I was kind of like, oh, thanks, like, yeah, cheers. And I sat back down, and then my mum was welling up a little bit, and then he was welling up because he really just, it hit him. And then when he started, getting really emotional, and it was just a bit of an emotional appointment, actually. I think he realised this is so bad. He admitted me straight into hospital. And then the next day, when I was in that hospital, I wasn't allowed any visitors. There was like a virus outbreak or something on my ward.
This is not COVID, by the way. This is pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, 2017. And literally, there was like, I just couldn't see any family members or friends or anything. And I'm in a ward with someone with like a brain tumor, someone who can't walk, someone who's diagnosed with there's no, everyone's vegetables around me. And then I'm the youngest in the ward as well. And I just felt really scared. And I was expecting to have so many tests that day, like an MRI, CT scan, like, check, diagnose me, like,
yeah,
work this out for me. All of those got cancelled, but they didn't tell me. So I starved myself all day for these scans and tests. And as well, one of the ladies, she kind of sat me down on the chair, but she didn't give me my button. But then she went away, but she thought I was able to get my button. She thought I could move. And, people were just always assuming. Yeah, it was crazy. And then, it was just a really, really horrible, tough day. And then that night I had 5 heart scares as well. So I was just like, oh my God, like.
What do you mean by a heart scare? What does that mean?
So what happens is called myocarditis. So what happened was dermatomyositis, it's an autoimmune disease. So your body attacks itself and attacks all the muscles in your whole body, proximity muscles especially, which is basically your arms, your back, your legs. And it went for my heart. So mine went really severe. It went for the heart, and it just weakened the heart. So it slowed the heart down, meaning this is why it was very difficult for me to walk up and down the stairs. I was out of breath very quickly, shortness of breath. Just really tough times. But they didn't think about the heart, you see. They knew about the muscles in general, but they'd never think it would go for the heart. So I had a severe case. And I think the reason why as well it led to that point was just, I had to really fight for myself and keep strong to be able to be seen to and be taken seriously. And this is why I'm here today, because it's like you could be going through so much, but don't give up on yourself and just keep going, keep trying, keep fighting for yourself, keep checking up on yourself, getting those blood tests. You're not feeling well, you're feeling tired, get it checked out. It's just really important. So myocarditis happened, and as soon as I went into the hospital, this is why Fearless Women is so important, and being women, like supporting women. I walked into the ward, I didn't know anyone, but the nurse recognised me from work. She recognised Yeah, she said, you said hi to me. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh my God, I can't believe you're here, right? And I'm like, oh my God, this is weird. Like, you're looking after me now. This is a change of events. I'm sorry you had to see me like this. But she stayed by my bed the whole night. She was so scared for me. And she was watching my heart drop. And it was getting lower and lower. She was like, have you had any heart problems before? Have you had a stroke before? She was asking me 101 questions. And I said, no, I've never had anything like that before. And I was just feeling tired, and you feel like you just feel exhausted and tired, So I could tell like my heart was going weaker and weaker and weaker. But at this point, I have to tell you, I was just tired. I was just thinking, what else have I done? I've fought for my right to be here, and I've had no checks done. And this woman's talking about my heart, and what can I do right now? Literally, no one's listening. No one's taking me seriously. I don't really know what else I can do here. Honestly, it was just one of those situations.
And you say they're not taking you seriously, and that's mainly because you look fit and healthy. You're young. You went in. They probably just saw you and thought, oh, she can probably do all of this, right?
Yeah, and that was all. I got that assumption purely from the first doctor that I saw. And she just gave me like E45 cream. Oh, have some E45 cream for you. And I was like, no, like I am not thinking that. I have never had a problem like that before in my life. This isn't a thing. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling weak. It's got to be B12, vitamin D, something like this. And I was giving her a whole list of stuff. Turns out I ended up being diagnosed with every single one of those things that I gave her a list for. I said, vitamin D, I'm taking vitamin Ds every day. B12, I'd have B12 injections every 3 months. All of these things, like thyroid, because my body crashed on itself. It messed all up my systems, my organs inside. So it kind of triggered hypothyroidism as well. But those are all the least of my problems. These are things that you just assume, oh, it must be that. But really, it was to the other scale. I was becoming disabled, and, I was in a wheelchair, and I was unable to do anything. And I was constantly like, please, someone do something. Someone do something for me. And then that night was a blessing for me. So when my heart actually did give in, and the nurse did call the doctors, I had 8 people around me getting injected. And like literally, so from 30 beats per minute, it went to like 220 beats per minute. Like my heart exploded. I felt like, oh my God, what's going on right now? I was scared. The first 2 times I was scared, But then thereafter, the 3 other times, because I was in the CCU unit, like I was literally, I knew that I was being looked after, and I knew finally I'm being monitored. I'm, doctors were coming in and speaking symptoms. I was able to have a conversation about what I was going through. I was able to speak freely, finally, to someone about everything that I was going through, what I was feeling, my body, what it's doing, the symptoms, not being able to breathe, not being able to move, to anything. And I was being heard, and then I was publicised in a magazine, and then students were coming in studying me, and people that I just didn't expect to see, I was seeing, and like people from 10 years ago, people from 15 years ago, 8 years ago in me, and I'm just thinking, what is going on? How are people finding out about me? And it was just so nice to be able to finally just be free, and knowing that I'm able to speak about my condition and being heard finally. Yeah.
Good. And how long were you in the hospital for the first time that you went?
So this is 25 days.
Okay.
They wanted me to stay longer, but I didn't want to. I was just like, no, get me home now. So, it was quite an intense situation. I had drips on me all night. I had the ECG, so you have 12 wires on you. You're constantly getting bloods out of your veins every single day. So I was pretty much bruised and battered all over, and I couldn't really touch for myself. And after the drips, I finally realised I could move my legs a little bit. And then the doctors were like, yeah, just keep practicing moving your legs. Just wiggle your toes. And well, hello, Gigi.
There she is.
Yeah, so they were like, yeah, just wiggle your toes. And I was like, okay. But then I woke up and I felt really alive again. I was probably high off my rocker with all the...
Is that because of the drugs?
I'm on 28 tablets a day, or 29 tablets a day at this point.
Wow.
And plus, on top of that, I had a drip, rituximab. I had this drip the whole entire night. And I woke up and I was just my whole leg was moving. So I was able to just hold my legs, move my leg one by one, bend them. And I was like, oh, this is good. This is exciting. And I was able to... even though they told me not to do this, I felt like I was able to do this. And I just swung my legs down and I just stood for a second. And I got myself to stand. And I was it was so emotional for me. I was literally crying. And I was like, oh my God, I just stood up on my own. This is crazy. And then I started the next day sort of shuffling. And then I started walking, and they said it will take you 2 years. It will take you 2 years to feel sort of semi-normal. But yeah, so I was doing it, I was trying, And then it was the proudest moment was when I showed my dad that I can now walk. Dad, check me out.
That's so nice. Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been a really incredible moment after everything you'd been through.
It was. You really take simple things for granted. I couldn't even peel a banana, and I would order a banana every single breakfast to try and peel it. People that would give me fruit, I was peeling the fruit. But little did they know, these people helped me out massively, because these are functions that I couldn't do, but by having these fruits, I was able to peel them. And I couldn't swallow, so this is another problem. When you have severe dermatomyositis, you can't really... it gets to a point where swallowing is also an issue. So I was losing a lot of weight, but I love my food so much that I was just I have to eat. So people are mashing the food for me. And this is good motivation for me. So supporting one another. So people coming to visit me and feed me, literally just feed me. I was just I was loving it. I was this is keeping me motivated for sure.
It's mad. So how did you get through those 25 days in hospital with everything that was happening?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what I did was a lot of reading. Netflix was a must as well. And music was so important because you're constantly around sounds of the hospital. So from the ward that I was upstairs in before, it would be like people with dementia, the people that can't do anything for themselves. And you're with them for such a long time. So you kind of see them and you know that they can't, she's not going to eat that because she didn't eat that yesterday. But the nurses, bless them, they're changing every single day. So then I would kind of learn about what the other people like and then what they don't like. And they can't speak for themselves, but I saw it. So I would say to them, like, oh, they won't have that. Try this because she ate that yesterday. And then just stuff like that. So you become really aware about what's around you. So you have to switch off. It's really important, especially when I was in the ward in the CCU. People around me, like I had people around me who wanted to die, like who would pray at night who wanted to die. So
You heard that?
Yeah, it was such a normal thing.
Wow.
So when I was in CCU, I had a woman who was praying to Jesus and to God, take me. That was my last meal. It was a really lovely meal. I'm ready to go now. All of this stuff. And then when I was upstairs in my ward as well, the other ward, I was, people were telling the doctors like, I'm ready. So, if it's my time to go, let me go. Like I want to go.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I was constantly around that. So I had the fear of people dying around me. Like I was constantly just alert and pretty on higher medication. So sleeping was a problem for me. So it was very important for me to have that music and switch off and just close the curtains around me and switch off because that was the only way that I could deal. Otherwise I wouldn't sleep and I was constantly aware of what everyone else was up to. By saying that, I mean, someone took a medication that she was allergic to, and she wasn't breathing properly. Like I have so many stories like this; it's unreal. And she wasn't breathing properly all night, so I had to call the doctors to try and save her. Like she was gasping for air, and she was allergic to that medication that they gave her. And then when I was in CCU, there was another woman who just collapsed next to my bed because she had heart problems. So I had to call the doctors, like,
Wow.
Yeah. So you're constantly just alert. And then, my downfalls, I'm such I'm an empathetic girl. So I would even dread asking for the toilet, like a commode. About the commode. So the commode is like a wheelchair where they come around and they kind of, that's where you go to do your toilet, basically. You can't move. So the only way to go is to use the commode. Or you get a pipe. I didn't want a pipe. So yeah, I know, it's not great. If you get an option to have a pipe or the commode, you'd go for the commode, 100%. But yeah, no, I would get so nervous and scared to ask for the commode because I'm taking up a doctor's time, a nurse's time who could be dealing with someone who needs them. And I used to get told off by the nurses all the time. They were like, if you need to go, just go. I'm like, you just can't stop thinking about, oh my God, what could be going on down 2 beds down or 3 beds down. And, I was like such a worrier as well as still when I should be thinking about myself. Yeah, it was tough. But music and reading and also visitors every day, family would come and feed me. So my mum and my dad and my brother, when they came and they used to feed me, it really kept me going. Jay is such a joker, so he really just made me laugh and smile, and yeah, it was nice to have that company.
How did they deal with everything? Seeing their daughter/sister in the hospital going through this? That's just really tough on them as well, right?
Yeah, of course. I think high anxieties, constant worrying. lots of stress. It wasn't a good time for them. So I think I kind of ended up turning into a bit of a comedian. Like, so the way I handle stuff is just like cracking a joke and making everyone feel comfortable and stuff like that. And, you know, I'd make everything lighthearted, even if that's what I learned. Even if I'm dying, I'm still like, I'm getting wheeled to the A&E. Like, I've just had 5 heart scares. I'm like, okay, I spy in my little eye, something with, because they were like, keep talking. So I'm like playing games. I'm keeping, you know, and Jay, when he was just worried, or, you know, I'd play games with them. And yeah, I think that helped the situation, hopefully.
Oh, that's so good. I was just saying earlier, actually, because with Vim, whenever you see her or she's around, she's always got such a positive mindset. She's always got a smile on her face, almost like bring it on kind of attitude. Like she's just gets through it. And that's one thing that I really picked up on everything that's happened, but you've got such a good positive mindset around it all, almost like I can get through anything. And that's something, have you developed that through what's happened?
Yeah. So I think what everything comes down to is acceptance. If you accept something, you're able to do anything. You can move on from it, and you can be more logical with the way you think to be able to deal with the situation in hand. So with me, I had to just accept, okay, I can't do anything. I'm not going to be able to do anything. So I'm not going to try getting up off the floor. And then I accepted that. And then I was able to just deal with it and handle it. When I was in hospital, okay, it's just one of them days. No one's going to be able to help me. It is what it is right now. Can't really do much except from scream and shout and be like, help me. But it all worked out at the end. And then also when I started and I was able to do things all over again, is accept, okay, now I can lift things. I can lift a glass, I can drink by myself, I can do so many things again. I can trust myself to pass that plate over to the other top side of the table. I can, you know, little things. I can open that door again. I can walk up the stairs without feeling like I'm gonna drop on the floor. Like, I had to start believing in myself again. And one thing that really helped me, actually, that I think I should share, is, you know, it's the resilience as well, obviously, of course it is, but it's, you know, being that tough, fearless person. If you can deal with all this crap, what else is there? Like, you can deal with anything. Yeah. And I think it was sort of that sort of situation where it's like, I've had worse. I've had a worse day than this, it's fine, yeah. So if I'm having a really bad day and I can't get up off the bed or anything like that, I'm just going to get out. Like, I've had a worse day before. So that sort of mindset, I know it's not the best of mindsets, but it does get you through the day. Definitely. And plus, just generally having confidence within yourself for your future. So I knew I didn't want my birthday to be the last birthday I had. I knew that I wanted to go on holiday again. I had so much I wanted to do. So I knew it wasn't my time to go. And I knew I wanted to walk and do everything and become independent again, because I need to go on holiday, basically. And, you know, so things like that really motivated me. I was just like, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going, keep pushing myself. And when you're in hospital and you have people around you who constantly are praying to die, you can't. I was one of those people that kind of saw that and saw those things and thought, no, I don't want to die. I'm good. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. We kind of had a to-do list to do. Yeah. So,
I like that.
Yeah. And then, you know, I got released from hospital and I couldn't walk still properly and I couldn't breathe. I had heart problems, massive problems. But I'd constantly wear like heart monitors and things like that. But I decided to go back to work.
Oof, how was the transition back to normality?
Oh my God, so challenged. That was so unreal. I was so scared. I remember the first time I went into work and I just thought, I've got to face the world. This is a big deal. Like, I am alone first of all, if someone pushes me and I'm on the floor, how am I going to get up?
Oh,
I was like fearful of anything. What if I trip? How am I going to get up? Like, I'm going to have to ask for help. I'm going to, like, I haven't got my mum here with me. He was pretty much doing most of the things with me. And, you know, it really helped me. So one of the scariest things for me was I had a lot of steroids, so I had a moon face. And then also my hair all fell out because of the drips and the conditions and everything that I was having. So it was like chemo-related treatments.
your hair completely gone from your head?
Yes, I had patches of gone, completely gone. So I knew, like, look-wise, I am not myself. So when I go to work, every person that knows me will say something to me about the way I look. I knew it. So I went there. They planted a seat for me so I could just sit there. Couldn't really move much. And I was just trying to just go at it. But every single day, so many people would comment on the way I look. You've got
I was going to say, by moon face, what do you mean by that? Like your face just was a bit blown up, or what's the?
Yeah. So it's called, when you're a spoonie, like when you have a lot of medication, features of you change. So I used to have like this sort of shaped face before, like that kind of gets added on when you're on steroids. Like it just kind of blows up a little bit, but it's gone down a lot. But it just naturally happens when you're on a lot of medications, especially steroids. You kind of blow up, and that happened. And I knew that happened, but that was the least of my worries. Now I know that people in certain situations, of people that I met, they wouldn't be able to leave their house. They wouldn't be able to get out of that door, especially even if they got a spot, for example. They would not be able to just
Don't get me started on that. When I was 18, this is nothing compared to what you've been through, but I had really bad acne. And I remember feeling like, I just don't want to leave the house. Why is this happening? All this kind of, and that's what I was going to ask you. How did you feel when you saw this in your aesthetics, in your looks, when you looked in the mirror? Your hair, for example, because you had really, really long hair.
I used to get really upset about it. But then what happens is I changed the priorities of what was actually important to me. So what was important to me was to not just become disabled and be known as the girl that's disabled, or to, I wanted to become fit again. I wanted to be able to walk, to lift things, to work. I wanted to be able to do all these things. So I knew the only way that I could do that is to face things heads on. And that's why I really pushed myself, and it was really horrible what I did to myself. I know mentally I probably put myself through a lot by just trying. I went out and I faced the world when I knew I was probably going to get, like, people would say things about the way I look. My hair's gone, I've gone big, I'm not able to do much, I'm not moving much, like people are going to be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like,
how did you deal with that, those comments that you received from work?
I just ignored them. So first of all, I was just too tired. I couldn't really breathe. So my actual aim of the day would be to survive my day. I would survive my day, and I would look at my colleagues to be like, tell them. So, and then I'd finish my day and I'd be really proud. But then if you have someone that I'd be like, oh, you've kind of like, you've changed, like you've gone really big or whatever, like, people that are quite rude to you when they speak about the way you look, I would shut them down quite nicely. And I would happily tell them what I've dealt with and what I've been through. But then I really, like, it becomes so repetitive that you get so tired of having to explain your condition. Just like, what? Who are you justifying yourself to? Like, who is that person? Is that person helping you, making you grow, helping you become a better person? No, this is just someone who's just ignorant, who literally has nothing better to do than to just comment on the way you look. It's a complete stranger. These strangers are coming up to me every single day that have seen me once or twice, have probably met me or whatever. but they felt like they had to say something to me about the way I look. Oh, I like your hair like this. Oh, why did you cut your hair short? Whereas I was wearing wigs at one point. I decided to wear wigs because I thought, do you know what? I used to have long hair, so the way I'm going to cope with facing all these people is wearing a wig. And it helped me a lot. But I didn't want to wear a wig all the time. So I was an absolute mess. I would be like, okay, long hair, short hair, long hair. Like, so people are like, you cut your hair. Why did you cut your hair? I'm like, it's a wig. It's a wig, love. It's a wig. And then like, oh, okay. Oh my God, your hair's so, like, I had so many young girls come up to me like, your hair's so beautiful. Like, it's gorgeous. Like, how do you, it's a wig. So upfront with it all. Like, do you know what, darlings? It's, your looks isn't everything, you know? It's just not something that, there's so much more to life. That's what my lesson was, that there was so much more to life, so much more to be grateful for than just my looks or your hair. I wanted to be able to walk again, to work, to be able to go and do things independently again. I wanted to be able to spend time, see my friends, see my family, dance and everything, you know? Jay's home, sorry, everyone.
Jay is Vimi's brother.
Yes. So my dog is excited to see Jay. But yeah, no, so it was literally one of those situations where I just had to face everything head on, because if you don't, then you're going to overthink it all and you probably won't do it, and I probably won't leave the house. So rather than becoming that person, I wanted to just do the opposite and just face everything.
I remember hearing about everything that had happened. Obviously it was difficult, I guess, for us to really understand, and it's something I've never heard of or hadn't heard of before you were diagnosed. So I remember Googling it and thinking, damn, like how is she going through this? And I remember I think I saw you at Christmas time. It was probably for the first time after it all happened, and you just had the biggest smile on your face, and you were just there like walking around, and I was like, oh, she is bossing it. Like, I just remember that's why I was just like, how did you actually transition back into social life? Because socializing is then, you've got your work situation fine, and you've got everything that's happening at home, and then socializing is more like, okay, we'll go for dinner or drinks or walk in the park or what, you know, going to each other's houses, whatever it is. But it takes effort and energy to actually converse with someone, and whether it's, as I say, going for a walk or doing an activity.
That was actually really difficult, because I made, you know, before, when I was trying to figure everything out, I made that conscious decision. The best thing for me to do is to focus on myself and cut everyone out. So I can't have anyone worrying about me when I don't even know what the situation is. So I made that conscious decision to be like, no, I can't go out. Well, literally, I couldn't go out. You'd have to carry me if you wanted me to go out with you. But like, literally, so I was just, you know, I made that decision that I'm going to have to say no to everyone. And then when I was able to do everything again, the first thing that I wanted to do was to see everyone that loved and supported me, because even if you were there or you were not there, the reason why I'm here is because I had so many people that I loved and I wanted to see again and to have those good memories with. So that's what kept me going. The whole reason why I'm here is because I had so many things going on in my mind that I wanted to do again, and I was doing them again. So seeing everyone in Christmas was a big deal for me, because I got to see everyone that I loved. So that was very nice. And easier when it's family, like you could just see everything and everyone, and I felt good about it. But I knew it was difficult. I knew that would be quite hard for everyone to see, and for me to be strong there again, like facing everyone. Sometimes it's not easy. Like there has been a Christmas where I've not been able to attend because, like, mentally, like, you know, mental health, you know, as much as I do show, everyone who knows me, they will probably describe me as a strong woman. But when I went to the hospital on Christmas Eve and I went to get my heart checked, my heart doctor gave me 101 reasons why I'm not okay still. When I felt okay, I felt like I was doing great and this and that. But obviously, you know, results and whatever, it came up with some bad news, and it hit me hard because I was expecting really good news. So I decided to not go to Christmas and face the whole family due to the idea that I'd have to pretend that I'm okay, knowing that I'm not okay. And that came, that was quite difficult for Dad, for example, to come to terms with, like, oh, you can't not come to Christmas, I'm like, trust me, that is a really hard thing for me, but I can't go to Christmas because, yeah.
How long was that after you'd been diagnosed that you were then thinking, oh, I'm getting better, I'm feeling good, more energy, and then you're hit with this news?
Yeah, I mean, this is an incurable disease. So even today, for example, my back would be hurting me, and then I'd say, Mum, can you please massage my back? Or, I'd survive. You get flare-ups, so your legs, your arms, you get flare-ups where your whole muscles just ache. You touch me, I'll be sore, tender, all of that stuff sort of happens. And that's just due to me thinking. So it was always a constant battle between my body and my brain. So my body, like, yeah, your brain's just like, you can do everything. Do it, jump off a plane. And then, first of all, I tried to do that at the beginning of this year. My doctor said no. And anyway, yeah, just generally speaking, it was just a constant battle, my brain and my body. You have to listen to your body. You have to listen to how you feel. Yeah, that's a must. I do think
this is incurable. So this is going to be with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And how do you feel now then? So it's been roughly 3 years now since you've been diagnosed. So it's been 3 years of this. You're obviously adapting, learning new things as you go along, growing as well as a person. So how has it been? How are you doing now?
I would happily say that I'm very blessed. I feel like very lucky. There's a few groups. So this is kind of a really rare, like 9 people in a million per million will probably have dermatomyositis.
Wow.
The severity of like what I had, where it went for the heart, that's really rare. Like that is, it's really difficult. I haven't met anyone who's had that. So there's a lot of, when you have a low immune system and an autoimmune, your body's constantly at battle there. You're constantly fighting off infections, flus, colds, your immune system's absolutely whack. So there isn't so much, it's a battle. It is a battle. So this year with the lockdown, everything's kind of worked out to my favour. I've not really, to be honest. But struggling, I'm struggling. I think you get used to it all. And I've become more and more adapted to the way I am. I already know that if someone in my position, they might not be able to handle how I am feeling today. I've come to terms with that. And I've come to terms with everything that I've been through. I know that there's some people who, might have died. They have died. Like, people have died. And there's people that wouldn't be able to do or handle it in the same way that I did. I get that. Everyone's different. But this is a way of saying that, you're not alone. When I was in hospital, I really needed that, someone to relate to.
Did you have that? Do you know others who have this condition, especially at your age?
Around the world. So Instagram helped me out a lot. I went to a charity, a brain cancer one, and I met someone there actually who had dermatomyositis, but it was completely different. But the fact that someone had it anyway was just like, oh my God, there's someone out there. But when I explain what I went through, it's still really difficult for people to relate to what I have been through, because it's just, I have been through a lot more than your average, basically, that has. And so I think that's where it's difficult. So I relate more to people probably who have heart problems or cancers, or who are going through certain situations that can, it's nice that I have been through this, because it's made me stronger, and I've realized how tough I am, how strong I am. I have the stories to tell people. So, you come a long way with things like that. you can help someone else. So it's really nice how I have helped many people. So
that's good. So you get people reaching out to you for advice, for help, maybe people who are going through this themselves, or know of others as well. Because I think there's a key thing here of, you may not be going through it yourself, but it's actually trying to understand what someone else is going through. Because that's what I wanted to do. So when I first, if it's anyone, when I hear of something or someone's going through something, like you were diagnosed with a condition, the first thing I was thinking is, what is that? And what does that mean? And hearing your story, it's like, wow, it's just understanding, like, what is someone actually going through?
Yeah, exactly. There's just so many levels to it. It's overwhelming. If I had to sit with you all night, it's a lot to explain. But in a nutshell, I would say no one's ever alone with how they're feeling. I felt, so going through everything that I went through, I faced rejection, I faced almost dying, I faced almost giving up, almost, I've like the main bit was the rejection and feeling alone, and feeling like no one's going to understand me. I had no friends that were like disabled around me at that point. I didn't know anyone that was in a wheelchair, that I speak to. I had no one to relate to. I was the only person that I knew. All of a sudden, I was in a wheelchair, and everyone was just looking at me. Is how I felt. So I just came to terms with all that. And when I shared my story, the amount of people that did come up to me that did lose their functionalities, people who have had twisted their ankle or broke their, or things like that. People were just telling me their stories, and I was like, oh my god, how crap does that feel? I can imagine you not being able to do that or write something, or I get you. I get how frustrating that was, that you couldn't drive or you couldn't walk, or it was just so nice to be able to just meet so many people that were able to open up to me. And then it started becoming deeper and deeper and deeper, where I was having more and more conversations with people that had so many different types of conditions, there's so many rare chronic illnesses out there. There's so many cancers out there. There's so there's people that I've met that are waiting for, transplants, heart transplants, lung transplants, all of this that I've spoken to, and we all check in on one another, and it's so nice because it makes a difference to my day, and what I say to them isn't overwhelming. What they say to me isn't overwhelming, and it's nice to be able to have people like that around. So if anyone who's watching this who has a condition or wants to have a little moan or a run, I'm your girl.
I'll put her details in the notes so you can reach out to Vim if needed.
I've had it.
I was going to say, it's really nice that you have that network and the support as well. It's so good being able to talk to someone who can actually relate, and the whole offloading piece as well, I think, is really key. So it's nice that someone's there listening, and you're also there for someone listening back. So that's really key.
Very important. And it's important to learn from one another. Definitely. Yeah. You learn from one another, you pick up on each other's habits. If there isn't a habit that you like, or there's negative vibes around you, I'd always recommend you cut that out. Basically, focus on yourself, focus on bettering yourself. Every day, look at yesterday and be like, how can I make myself better than yesterday? Just even if it's a small thing, or do something to make yourself feel good. Self-care, self-love, all of that. Very important.
Love it. Couldn't agree more. So what are you up to these days? So you mentioned at the start of the podcast something along the lines of arts and crafts.
Yes. So I should throw my Insta in there.
Yeah. I'll put it in the notes.
Thanks. It's at vimi.art, and what I do is I basically make coasters, necklaces, and bookmarks and necklaces, just jewelry really now as well. Main thing that I'm quite popular with is coasters, so and key earrings. So at the moment, I started off with me just wanting to have fun, have a new hobby. I love painting. I always think it's really good, especially with this whole pandemic and lockdown. I can imagine you having so many different new skills as well.
Yes.
All up. So from baking and making things and all of this stuff. So, I've picked up, I've learned a lot of new skills. And I've always liked arts, and I like DIY. So, I just thought, why not try something new? I started it, and it was really nice. I really enjoyed it. And then I was like, someone reached out to me and was just like, I could do with some cheering up or something like that. And I'm like, I'll make you something. And I just made stuff. And then I'm just like, now it's just the thing where I'm just making stuff for people and just customizing it, but mainly just making things to make people happy. Yeah, it's nice.
That's so nice. I definitely check out her work. It's really beautiful. So you'll see. I'll put some notes in so you can get her Insta link.
Thank you. That'd be sweet. But yeah, no. Other than that, I do think this is very important that we all learn from one another. And if there is anything, it is to make sure that you do look after yourself, and you do know that it's something that I've always said to anyone, that you're a gem, you're so important. So please look after yourself and get yourself checked, and anything that your body's feeling, do notice it, and question it, because you never know.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast, Vimi. It was really nice to hear your story and share your experiences. So thank you.
Oh, and just quickly as well, if DJ Hype is watching, thank you for today as well. He's going to put me on the radio station and more.
Oh.
Educating. So I'm very excited. So thank you everyone for the support.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the Fearless Females podcast. Be sure to join our Facebook group called Fearless Females and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye for now.